Ken Fernandez, and welcome to my channel, Gamers Genie. Today, I'm going to be counting down my top 10 drafting games. I tried to keep this list to card drafting games as much as possible, so it's not going to wean too much away. So most of the stuff, the mechanics will be about card drafting, not like tile drafting, or I know there's like a bunch of different drafting stuff, but this is going to primarily focus on card drafting. This was a pretty difficult list to come up with, especially because I was trying to build this list based off of the traditional idea of drafting. You know, you have a hand of cards, you take a couple cards, to construct a new hand, and you pass it to the left, to the right, or to the left, and then we move forward with the game. So this list will kind of do some of that stuff. Not every game will have that though, but every single game I have on this list I got from Board Game Geek, and it all said that they're drafting games. So yeah, if you guys are like, hey, that's not a drafting game, there we go. That's where I got my information from. But without further ado, let's count down. Okay, so number 10 is Wingspan. This game is definitely, it's more of an engine building game. The drafting part is not that much. It does not draft in the traditional sense of the word of drafting, but you definitely have to draft cards by you just drawing them from a stack in front of you, or you can draw blind from the deck. That's how you would draft your cards, and then you have to place them on the board, completing goals and all sorts of stuff. Seeing birds laying eggs and everything like that. This is a really good game. Artwork's really beautiful. Everything about this game is just fantastic. You know, naturally, as traditionally with our top 10s list, if I do have a how to play video on it, of course I'm going to link the I'm going to put a link to that game so you guys can all check out how it's played. I know there's like a limit that YouTube will give me, but we'll see. But yeah, you know, it's also got a bunch of wonderful expansions. You got European birds. You got, so the first one is like North American birds, then it's European birds, then it's Oceanic, and the current one is Asia. I've recently played the Asia birds. It is very fun, and I've only played like one variation that came with the Asia birds. So I need to try out the other variants of the game, because there's multiple variants in Asia. So yeah, it's really good. Number 10, Wingspan. Okay, so number 9 is, and remember I got this from Board Game Geek, Ticket to Ride by Days of Wonder. It's really hard how to explain this, because I don't know what I can say about this game that I and other people have not already said. But I'll just give a premise. So you have to complete routes by completing tickets. And you do that by you collect train cards, and then you place a number of train cards, and you place trains on the matching number and color of tracks and build through there. The player with the most points wins the game. This is a classic game. A lot of people use this game to get other people into the board gaming hobby. The drafting is definitely coming from the cards you draw from the pile and everything like that. Again, not traditional. It's not a traditional idea of what we built up as drafting, but people are listing it as a drafting game. And but the reason why 10 and 9 are 10 and 9, because I'm not rating these by how great these games are. I'm rating these based off of how closely do these count more towards drafting. So yeah, the first two, we'll see. By the way, if you do hear coughing in the background, Jordan is getting over a cold. And she is in the room with us, and she is here. But, you know, so anyways, we have featured Ticket to Ride a number of times. We're going to be featuring another Ticket to Ride map very soon, because around well, not very soon because it is February, But like in May, we will be featuring that because Mother's Day is when we usually bring out another Ticket to Ride map. So, yep, number 9, Ticket to Ride. Okay, so number 8 is the Isle of Cats. And at first I was trying to remember, what makes this a drafting game? Because it mostly kind of does that Uwe Rosenberg like tile placement themed game. But then I remembered there's cards, and cards have like, some of the cards have like baskets and all that stuff, and you need to draft the cards by picking 2, passing them to the player to your left, and then take 2 from another player's hand, then keep repeating until you have a brand new set of hands. Then you gotta draft again by spending fish on the cards that you want to keep. And, you know, and you have to also kind of manage to see how much fish you spend, because you also need to have fish to lure the cats into the basket and everything like that too. I do feel like when you play your first round, try to go for as minimal, a small number of cards as possible, because then when you can keep building fish, then when you go to like round 2, then you can start spending, because you should have at least a decent number of fish. Isle of Cats is a great game. Jordan and I have the main game. We have the Late Arrivals expansion. We also have the Kittens and Beasts expansion. We have taught this game on the channel. Jordan and I have played this game on the channel. I play it on Board Game Arena a lot because I don't remember if this is a 1 to 4 player game. So I like to, well, plus I like to play with people. And on Board Game Arena, I'm playing with people, so it's a good game. But yeah, I like it. I can't wait to teach other people about this game. I don't think I've taught that many people in person. I mean, unless you've seen my video, that's about it. But yeah, number 8, the Isle of Cats. Okay, so number 7 is Splendor. And I totally forgot the publishing company by this game. Don't worry, they will be tagged in. They will be tagged in all the stuff for this. But what I mainly forgot is I forgot to write it down on my list. But Splendor is a great game. I think it's by Repo Productions. I don't know. Hopefully Jordan's hearing this and she'll look it up on Board Game Geek. But you know, you have to draft cards by spending gems to get, you know, different, to get more gems to get, like, that are permanent, and then you have to get, like, different artisans by, you know, saying they want this combination of gems. You know, it's like whoever has the most points wins. You know, it's a fun game. I play it a lot on Board Game Arena.
Space Cowboys, that's the company.
Space Cowboy, by Space Cowboys, yes, yes, yes. Okay, so, yeah, I will remember to write that down on my list next time I make another list with Splendor on it. I do like this game. It is a pretty quick game. It kind of forget how quick it can go by, because one minute you're like starting to play it, and you're like starting to build up gems, getting to that point that you want to do where you can start buying everything, but then the next minute it's like, oh, the end game conditions are met. Oh, okay, we're done. But yeah, I do like this game. I like games where you are representing you and not a character, because I feel like nowadays characters kind of muddle up stuff a bit, and I know number 3 is going to kind of totally ruin that, but whatever. But I like it more where you are the character. I like it mostly because it makes it more immersive? No, it's not inversive. It's immersive. Sorry, immersive. It's a more immersive thing, meaning that I can get more into the game when I don't have a character picture and profile in front of me, and I go, okay, I'm supposed to be this guy. I like it better when there's not that in front of me. I know I've featured some games where you have to play as a character, so I like those games too, but if I had to pick between something where I have a character and where I have no character, I'm going to pick the game where I have no character, because it's a lot more easier to get people to play those games. Yeah, and this is definitely one of those games that does that, so yes, number 7, Splendor. Alright, so number 6 is the game Dungeon Draft by Upper Deck. Jordan and I discovered this by playing a Win-A-Box tournament, or I discovered this by playing a Win-A-Box tournament. Jordan was not there.
I was there.
Jordan was there, okay. Jordan was there.
It was my first Gen Con in 2017.
It was her first Gen Con in 20-something teen.
2017.
Back before the year was in its teenage years and not looming about the fact that it's almost 30. Just like a lot of us who were born in any year that was started with a 19, you all know who you are, and I'm with you. It's like, you know, but this game is really fun. You have different classes and races that you have to use. You kind of build the deck to you gotta try to draft cards to kind of get through dungeons and everything, complete goals, and get as many points as you possibly can. And you do that by you have to have different sets of suits, which is really cool. And they all have to match. Some of them you have to have like different combinations of stuff, but you always have to keep them in their own little columns. So, you know, wizards are with wizards, rogues are with rogues, you know, druids are with druids. You can't like, but, you know, it's like you need 3 rogues and 3 druids in order to complete this. So then you do that, you get to reveal the card, show that you have completed it. One of the reasons why I started wanting to feature games like this is because, you know, just like Quest for the Antidote, I wanted to, and Bring Out Your Dead, I want to show that Upper Deck, you know, who's primarily known for Legendary, and Legendary is a really fun and awesome game. But we gotta remember, for those of you who, for those of us who don't, there's a whole audience out there that doesn't want to collect like 5 billion cards. They'd rather just have a game, play it, put it back on the shelf, and maybe get it out some other time in the future. That's where games like this really shine, because, you know, it does draw in that kind of audience where they can just pull out Bring Out Your Dead, or pull out Quest for the Antidote, or pull out Dungeon Draft and just start playing it. They do not need to, you know, keep getting these sets, and, you know, there's always these completionists who kind of get obsessed with wanting to get every single set of like Marvel Legendary or Legendary Encounters or Legendary blah blah blah. I think currently in my collection, as far as Legendary goes, I do have Marvel Legendary, I have the Big Trouble in Little China Legendary, and I also have the James Bond Legendary. So yeah, I'm a victim of that too. But, you know, like I said, it's really cool to play a card game that you can just pull out, shuffle the deck, and get going. So that's why number 6 is Dungeon Draft. Okay, so number 5 is one that I know is pretty popular, but I know a more recent version of this is more popular. This is Sushi Go. I know that there's another there's Sushi Go Party, which is a little more popular than this, but I've never played Sushi Go Party. And there's, I think it's played the same way, it just has more cards. If that is true, please let me know in the comments below, because I have been thinking about getting Sushi Go Party. Also let me know if that's like, if you already have Sushi Go, is it like worth getting? Or you should just keep Sushi Go. I don't know. So let me know for both of those things down in the comments below. But this is a good drafting game because you switch directions every other turn. So like one turn you go to the left, one turn you go to the right, back and forth. You have cards to really try to maximize your points. Although granted, I did teach my niece this game last year. I played it with Jordan, and I played it with my niece, and my niece had this surplus supply, and so she kind of got the rules without me having to explain all the cards and their abilities and everything. And I apologize to my niece for doing this, but I kind of wanted to use her as a guinea pig in like a little bit of a science experiment, because I'm like, okay, I've played Sushi Go, I've taught Sushi Go to people where I have to explain the rules extensively on how each card works. I want to see, can someone play Sushi Go and kind of do pretty decently if I don't explain how each card works. I explain the game, but I don't explain the cards and what they each do. It works, but she had like this big stack of wasabi just sitting there and she didn't know how that worked. And I'm like, okay, I see the flaw in that. So then I explained what wasabi did and everything. And she did better. She did better. But all in all, she placed pretty well for her first time playing the game against two people who actually knew what they were doing. You can say I was being unfair by not telling her like what the wasabi is for or whatever. But, you know, I just wanted to know. And I figured my family would be more bigger sports about that than friends. My friends would probably accuse me of cheating. Maybe, I don't know. But that's why I didn't want to try out with them, and I want to try out with family. But yeah, Sushi Go is definitely one of my favorite games. I know I was stuck. I wanted to just pick one game right game. They also did put Go Nuts for Donuts as a drafting game as well. But I'm like, okay, no, Sushi Go, it's more classic. So that's why number 5 is Sushi Go. Okay, so number 4 is Seven Wonders. This one's by Repose Games. This one's by Repose Games. This is a game that I know kind of made it around the circle with my friends for a while. And then like it kind of went to the wayside. And then it kind of came back. You know, you're drafting cards, you're building a civilization, and the hard part about this game, I feel like, is finding balance, because you want to get as many cards as you can so you can get as many points as you can. But you also want to make sure you're building your defenses, so that way when someone tries to attack you and like make you lose points, you can successfully defend yourself, because you're going to be attacked from the player to your right and from the player to your left. So you want to make sure you have enough defenses to fight everybody off, so that way you can save your points, that way you can get extra points. Whew, there's a lot that goes into this game, and I would definitely say it's a very easy game to get into. It's a very easy game to get into, but it is one of those games where it has so many components to it that at first glance, you're going to go, oh, I'm never going to understand this game. But then by like the end of round 1, you're like, I get this game. It's a good game. It's a fun game. It was definitely during lockdown. It was one of the games I played the most on Board Game Arena. And then I upped it a little bit more once my dad got my brother and his, at the time, girlfriend this game. Because he always gets them new games, because they're starting to get into the board gaming hobby, because you know, I don't want to get into family details. But number 4, I keep fighting saying number 7, Seven Wonders. Okay, so number 3 is Dune Imperium by Dire Wolf Games. This is the one that I struggled with, because this is one of those ones that doesn't feel like a drafting game. It feels more like a deck building game. But it says card drafting game, that it's a drafting. It says it's that's why this is my top 10 drafting games, not top 10 card drafting games. Like I said, I'm trying to keep this, but you know, what can I say about Dune Imperium that other people haven't? It's a great game. It incorporates more of the Dune movies. Not to say that those aren't accurate to the books. I know there are, of course, it's an adaptation, so there's going to be some parts that they left out or didn't, you know, or did it differently or whatever. I'm not going to get into that, because this isn't a book thing. This is a good game. I have a favorite character that I like playing. I cannot remember the name, though, because it's a character that they deleted from the movie. I think it's, I know the actor, it's Mads Mikkelsen's character. I like his I like the ability and how much that can give you an advantage in the game. I'm trying to expand to the other new characters as well, but yeah, this is still my favorite one. And I don't know. Jordan hasn't played it. I don't think she has a favorite character. She hasn't played it enough where I think she has a favorite character. I'm trying to get Jordan into Dune, but nah. She's not that big of a fan of science fiction. But, you know, science fiction is a hard genre to get into. But this game is pretty fun. I played the digital version, which is shocking for Direwolf, I'm not gonna lie. It just kind of seems like it's just the game digitized, which if you played like Root and Everdell and Munchkin, it's very different. But all in all, this is still a fun game I like to play. If you do not like people who who know all the facts about like the books and all that stuff and knows all the history, if you don't like the board game historian kind of person, do not play it with that. We actually played this game at our game night with our game group, and we played with one of those board game historian guys that knows like every single little detail about every single ship and character and all this stuff. And I swear, every time we got recruited a character or we played a card or everything, he had to pause the game to talk about every single detail about this. Now, I get it. There are some people out there that do that. That's fine. But here's the thing. The game night was getting close to ending by the time we finished this game. And we started it at like the very beginning of the game night when it started. And so we went from playing a game that probably could have ended pretty quickly, I don't know, to one that was like basically the only game we played at the game night. So we haven't really brought it to game night since. Nowadays, if we want to play the game with other people, it's just like people that come over to our house. We played that game with, because we just don't want to sit through that anymore. We did the same thing with the Firefly game, where it's like, you know, they had to explain every single little detail about it, and it was just, it helped a little bit, but it didn't help us win the game. But anyways, number 3, Dune Imperium. Number 2 is Abyss by Bombix. Yes, I had to look it up. I gotta remember to write all the publishing companies in there. This is a good game. It's a pretty fun game. You gotta recruit lords to your side, get these keys to try to get. It's another, you know, draft as many cards to try to get as many points. But this one you have to be more strategic. Like, what cards will get me the most points with minimization? You have to be kind of a minimalist, because there's a limit to how many you can have before the end game triggers. So you could have a lot of cards, but you might have very little points. You could have very little cards, but you might have a lot of points. So it is kind of almost a minimalistic kind of way to try to maximize your points. I do like this game. It's a fun game. I think we played this game on the channel. Yeah, won the poll. Like, it was on there it was one of those ones like Wingspan that was there for a long time, and then it finally won. But yeah, this is a pretty fun game by Bruno Cathala, you know, so you know it's gonna be pretty good. It's really hard to say how much I can talk about this, because I just kind of mentioned like basically how to play the game. So yeah, number 2, Abyss. Okay, so number 1 is Archaeology by Archaeology: The New Expedition by Z-Man Games. This is this is like a remake or second edition of the original Archaeology, where I believe Z-Man Games kind of tweaked it up. They added more stuff that you can do with the game, new bunch of rules, so you can kind of mix and match the game. Gives it a lot more replayability. But in this game, you have to get like these treasures. You collect these different sets of treasures, and whoever has the most points wins. If you get the Pharaoh's Mask, it is pretty much can be game over for everybody else, because if you get all 4 Pharaoh's Masks, that will give you a ton of points. But there's only 4. It's a set of 4, but there's only 4 in the entire deck, so you have to try to get those as best as you can. Yeah, this is a very fun game. It's definitely a game that I like to get out if someone wants to play a quick game. Very great. The Sandstorm is a good thing to shake things up, as well as the Thief. I do think those are both really good elements in the game to help shake it up. So yeah, number 1, Archaeology, the new expedition. Well, there you go. There's my top 10 games that are drafting. Not card drafting, just drafting. I mean, genuinely, they're card drafting. So I'll put a card drafting in the title. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell to be notified for videos just like this. And if you are in a charitable mood, consider donating to Books for Africa. This is a literacy program making sure that all around the country of Africa there are books that are being distributed, so that way it can fight the battle against illiteracy, which is in several places a very losing battle. And so hopefully this program will reach as many kids as possible, so we can have a lot of kids who can read and write and everything. It doesn't just do school, so you can donate with, of course, if you want to help out, you can donate with cash. You can donate old books that you don't read, or you can just spread the word. That is always one of the best ways to help out with these charities. Yep, feel free to check them out. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. And with that being said, what are some of your favorite drafting games? Doesn't necessarily have to be a card drafting game. If it is a card drafting game or card drafting games, yeah, I'd like to know. Leave them in the comments below, but it doesn't necessarily need to be card drafting games. It can just be a drafting game. It could be tile drafting or whatever. So leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear you. Be on the lookout for our next Top 10s video, whatever that is. But until then, thanks for the views.